first. I'm going to start left to right, and I will begin with Tazarath, played by.
Cerulean, and for the record, once again, Tazarath is a evil tiefling paladin.
Marvelous. Next up, we have twin characters, Snake and the Fixer-Upper, played by.
Raya Naga. And Snake is a Yanti sorcerer of the Draconic Path, naturally. And Fixer Upper is a half orc war priest.
Okay. Next up, we have Tristan Lonavere, played by.
Well, Tristan is a kobold wizard of the divination path.
Excellent. Next up, we have Melrath, played by.
Starmy827, and Melrath is a dwarf eldritch knight.
Excellent. And last and far from least, we have Bob, played by.
That is Barska, and Bob is a warlock tiefling following the Great Old One.
Excellent. So, last time, I'm struggling a little bit to remember because this is the point where this party has started to overlap with the other group that I've been running through this same campaign. So, I'm going to hope that I got this right because I'm pretty sure I remember what's up. Although I don't quite. Wait. I have notes for next time. I never finished writing my note. Marvelous. Okay. As I remember it, I think the party had landed in the city. They had encountered a watchtower over the lake, and they had decided to enter the city through the front gates. Is that what happened last time?
Yes.
Okay. Then from
Aren't we far beyond that?
I don't know.
Are you getting there?
Last session. What started the last session that you remember?
We fought a giant.
Yes, okay. We're further along than I remembered. Yes, I do remember what happened. Last time, the party had encountered Dorhoon and Rehood. Rehood had grown a second head and was rampaging through town, and had recently attacked his brother Dorhoon, who had been attempting to subdue him and save the populace. As a result of attacking Rehood but not killing him, the party was able to bring him back to Stone Speaker Haram, and the Stone Speaker had offered the party access to his divinatory techniques, his prophecy, and under notes. Haram's prophecy is saved as a note for anyone that wants to review it at any later point in time. I remember that the party had asked him a number of questions about sort of what was going on in the Underdark and things of that nature. He had given the party a special stone, which, let me see here. Be sure to have the party sheet open and the combat tracker, as those two things are often used. But anyways, under this, I don't remember what it was called. It's a little less important. Shard of Quartz, that's what it is. And it's on the Fixer-Upper. Inventory, Shard of Quartz. Oh, Stone Speaker Crystal. I had forgotten to check off the ID thing for it. The Stone Speaker Crystal. It has a number of abilities on it, allowing you to speak with animals, the dead, or even plants, which counts fungi, by the way, because there aren't really plants in the Underdark. And actually, I think that's, aside from giving you advantage on investigation checks, that's exclusively what it does. And each of those things requires a charges to activate. So after you had gotten that, I remember that the party had gone to where's the map for this? Maybe it's our Overlake Hold, but where is?
I don't think there was ever a map for the hold itself.
No, but there was a map for the city, and that's what I'm trying to find.
Gracklstug map.
Gracklstug. Oh, wait, is this it? No. Wait, I found it. Here's the player map, so I'm going to share. There we go. So over Lake Hold, and I'm going to clear my drawing so that it's clear what's what. Over Lake Hold is here. This is where the party left off. It is for people who may not remember or have been here last time. It is the fortress and temple dedicated to Laudiger, who is the god of the dark dwarves. It is carved into a massive stalagmite on the shore of the dark lake. It is also the home of the Deep King and the center of government. It bristles with forged chimneys from which smoke bellows and ledges from which catapults can hurl stones at waterborne invaders. So the party had entered over Lake Hold because after fighting Rehud, the mad stone giant, Erde, who is the captain of the city's guard, had demanded their presence. And once they had made it into Over Lake Hold, um, hmm, maybe I have to open this one. Uh, she has tasked the party with searching out a disreputable Darrow named Droki. And Droki has this strange habit of slipping into the bazaar, grabbing things of oh, that was strange. Grabbing things of magical significance and then vanishing as soon as the guards are upon him, which is quite amazing because oftentimes those guards are invisible, and he is extraordinarily fast. And so she has um, gathered you all together and insisted that that you track down Droki because at this point she knows what, or sorry, Droki knows what the city guard looks like, but doesn't know to be out on watch for you. If you do this, um, she is going to see to it that you are on the next caravan out of here as passengers um, in exchange for your help.
And I believe we were going to do that, right?
Yeah, we agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, starting
That's
up
what I thought.
for this particular session, she has said that Droki is often seen sneaking around the Blade Bazaar, and in fact, to remind you guys once again, this is Droki. This is an artist rendering that she happens to have on file of the individual so that she could disperse it amongst her guards. And this is what he looks like. And so you're going to be headed to the Blade Bazaar to try to find him and then track him to wherever the hell it is that he's headed from here. Um, Now, she also specifically said that when it comes down to it, the most important thing is that you find out what Droki is up to. It does not, however, matter whether or not he is brought back dead or alive. But if it turns out that he's up to something truly nefarious, she wants you to bring back proof. Everybody clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, So, what is your plan going to be to locate him? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. There's one last minor important thing. Um, as part of this particular investigation, just so that the city guard does not attempt to arrest you for doing suspicious things, she has handed you badges. These badges, what what the fuck is on them? It doesn't say.
I am so tempted to reply with the only line that is ever needed in this situation, but
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, me too. Moving right along, these badges have some sort of insignia on them that indicate that you are doing Erde's work. So, in the event that anybody tries to stop you, you can flash these things and potentially get out of trouble, so long as you haven't just like straight up murdered someone.
hmm
Yeah. So, what is your plan?
Maybe try to bait him with. I think we have something valuable still, or did we sell all of it? I can't remember.
You sold it all.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes, but you got some good stuff for it, so you know.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything valuable for a dark dwarf?
Well, she said that what he's mostly been stealing is he's been going to the different stalls in the Blade Bazaar that has been supplying um, magic components for spells or rituals, and he seems to be making off with that.
Well, we still have, it looks like, plenty of gold. Maybe we could get some. I don't know if that's what he likes.
He's been taking a variety of different things, but he is seen in the Blade Bazaar almost daily.
Should we just go look for him? Is that kosher?
Sure. Do you guys have a
Could
particular
we?
plan when it comes to trailing him?
Here's a random question, and it's not something that Tazarath would think of, and I'm really only thinking of it because my previous character, somebody could do an Arcana or Medicine check and figure out what the hell he's cooking up, if anything, what ingredients he's stealing.
An excellent question, but unfortunately the answer will be frustrating. So, when it comes right down to it, the guards that have been working under Erede have never actually been able to catch him. That much is obvious. But when they went back to the to the stalls and they asked what was stolen, no one was entirely certain what was stolen. It wasn't like, for example, he took a dragon claw and then there was no dragon claw.
Mm.
He may have shaved something off of a dragon claw and it wasn't noticed. Do you know what I mean? He's taking stuff in such a way that nobody can quite figure out what it was that was taken. But he has some satchel that's always with him, and people have seen him stuffing his hand into it. So they're presuming he's taking something.
And no one can see invisible folks yet, right?
No, however, I am 90% certain that Darrow cannot be naturally invisible in the same way that Darrogar can. And I'm looking it up in the NPC table.
Droki is a Darrow.
Yes, I will. I think I'm going to have to go into the campaign guide for this. Give me a moment. NPCs. Darrow.
Once we see him, can we cast Mage Hand to go grab him?
Mage Hand does not have sufficient strength to hold on to.
Just pluck him up. Maybe not your Mage Hand. Jeez.
I don't know how you've been strengthening your Mage Hand, Kyle, but that is not a discussion for this stream. So, because I know that not everyone is familiar with the Underdark races, and because they're moderately common in this city, I'm going to read you sections from the MM. Darrow are degenerate Underdark humanoids that resemble small dwarves. Cruel and insane, they take delight in tormenting others, even of their own kind. Darrow have a blue-gray skin and straight hair that is white or yellow in color. Their uniformly pale white eyes lack both irises and pupil. Darrow believe that they were created of their god Dirinka, but they are actually the result of cruel experiments on dwarves by mind flayers. Like Darrogar, the Darrow were a slave race to the mind flayers, but eventually freed themselves. The process of their creation has rendered the Darrow irrevocably and universally insane. They cooperate with each other only out of necessity and when riled up by a charismatic leader. Darrow create no settlements of their own. Instead, they form small, isolated enclaves in non-Darrow settlements throughout the Underdark, where they are treated as vermin or slaves. Their own cutthroat policies prevent the Darrow from mounting any effective resistance against such exploitation. There's a little bit more to this. So I know that as part of the primer that I sent you guys for Gractelstug, the Darrow Savants were mentioned as a faction within the city. Does anybody vaguely remember the name?
Some sort of crazy.
I didn't catch any of that.
I said some sort of crazy council.
Yes. As part of the process that made the Darrow and caused them to become insane, some very rare Darrow are born with extraordinary psychic abilities. They're still relatively crazy, but they also have powerful psychic abilities to boot. And the Deep King has, as part of the factions of the city and the government, formed a council of Darrow savants, the most powerful, most powerful Darrow that are available that have psychic abilities, and he uses them to attempt to foresee attacks against the city, attempts to steal territory, just anything you could possibly need a psychic for. He has them in his thrall. Now, they are a powerful political force in their own right, so um, it is not the case that they're completely beholden to him, but they are largely beholden to him. So that is the collective group that is the Darrow. I will also mention, if you are looking at the map, and I'm going to force it into your view again, on the leftmost section here and the rightmost section here, these chasm things, there are what are called the West Cleft and East Cleft districts. They are the Darrow slums. Darrow live in those particular locations, and so as you see, this chasm extends along the entire course of the city, and there's a little trail that runs along the bottom of it. See that? There are also stairways that lead up to the city and conversely down into the chasm, and these bridges span the chasm as well. So Darrow are constantly moving along the bottom of this particular chasm, and that's how they enter and exit the city and where their particular factions are located. The Darrow slums, however, are an absolute mess, and they're slums, and they're trash. So it would be very difficult to, for example, start there and try to locate an individual Darrow, and extremely dangerous too, because someone who is fine one moment might whip out a dagger and just gut you the next.
Truly a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
I will accept that. So, anyways, sorry to get so off course. I checked. The Darrow do not naturally possess actually any racial magic whatsoever. They do have a degree of magic resistance, and that's about all you know about them.
Now, question about the deep dwarves. Do they have detect invisibility themselves? I know they're great at becoming invisible.
They do
Do we
not,
know anything?
as a
Okay.
racial ability, have detect invisibility.
Okay.
As a side question, how are we going to get Tristan involved in this, I wonder?
Well,
Out
that's
of
another excellent question. I would actually vote that we simply just include Will and pretend that he's been here the entire time, because why make it any harder than it has to be?
He's one of the NPCs that we didn't kill.
I didn't fireball him.
He has not taken an active role up until now.
Maybe he's
I
been
was just
invisible this whole time.
He's
I was
a
just-
very, 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 very awkward little kobold.
He's very sneaky.
So,
Well, that is a spell he has.
what?
He does have invisibility, so
Oh, yeah, there you go. And as such, I invite Will to participate in suggesting, possible courses of action to take to catch Droki.
What if he turns invisible and then we just go to the... well, how do we track him?
Yes, that is also something. So I can tell you right now that when it comes to tracking in basically any environment, the skill check necessary is survival. Right, it helps you locate footprints and
Okay.
follow animals or people through environments. Period. So survival might be something that you want to work with.
Does the bazaar sell scrolls, perhaps, of like detect invisibility, anything like that?
There are scrolls of See Invisible, and actually, I think the party has one.
Does.
It does not. That was the other group. Yes, they are available. They are available for Actually, I kind of forget what spell scrolls cost. Give me a second. I know where to look.
If one person does one, can he like lead the rest?
Yes.
Okay.
So what? When it comes to see invisibility, the spell only works for the person who casts it. So you either need to buy multiple spell scrolls or have one person that you feel is very reliable that would be able to either spot him or track him.
Perception and survival are the keys.
I would say perception or survival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and now I'm looking. Identify.
So I'm just going to point out that Tristan has a familiar. It's a bat. Bat has blind sight, so it's also another way to see invisible things, I believe.
Excellent.
What's blind sight?
Does not rely on sense of sight for any type of vision within 60 feet of it.
Oh. So like echolocation, basically.
Yeah, which
Pretty much.
works
Interesting.
right through. Goes right through invisibility.
Such a handy familiar.
That's wizards for you. So. Oh, here it is. I finally found it. What spell scrolls are written? Blah 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 blah. Consumable magical item. Duh. Are you kidding? All right, I'm gonna make it up because I can't remember where it is or what the cost is. For see invisibility, it'll be like 125 gold pieces. How's that sound?
Okay.
We can't afford that.
We can, but I mean,
I have enough just in my inventory. Barely.
The party
Yeah,
has a total of 1,313 gold pieces.
yeah, we
We
can afford.
cannot spare that. I mean, we could just run, right?
Well, I mean, the other thing is,
I'm kidding.
okay. Anyways, so the familiar sounds like a good avenue. Just want to give it a shot and see how it goes.
Sure, it's better than spending 125 gold.
Bastards. Okay.
Agreed.
The party enters the bazaar. Are you guys spreading out? Are you staying together? What's your plan?
Before anything else, Alex, I'm going to roll for my portent for the day. Just the 2d20s.
Oh, please do.
Your what's a who's it?
He's going to get to that in just a second. Let him roll. There's one. And there's the other. Wow, those are excellent rolls. Your portents are what now?
So, as a divination wizard, I can roll at the beginning of each long rest. At the end of each long rest, 2 dice. At any point in time, any creature that I see, I can replace one of their rolls before they roll it with that dice roll. So if it's really low, I can toss it onto a bad guy. If it's really high, I can toss it onto one of us.
And
Cool.
every day, he gets to make 2 of those rolls, and then he's going to keep track of them and cross them off as necessary. So, I saw Melrath propose the party spread out and search for clues. Does that sound good to everybody?
Sure.
Sure thing, Scoob.
Okay. What I would like everybody to do to start with is roll perception checks for me.
Come on, nat 1.
I'm always the worst at this.
28. Wow.
Jesus. What? What happened? Where?
Oh, hey, I beat that.
Oh, you guys suck. Wait,
How
I
does
do
one
too.
roll a check?
Pop open your character sheet, go to the skills tab. When you get to perception on that list, follow it along to the right. Next to the red dragon head, there's a dice. Or, sorry, there's a number. Click and drag that, drop it in the chat.
28 and 1. Very balanced.
There we go. So we have the entire range of numbers here. How this ends up working out, of course, is that Snake and Bob both get caught up looking at the wares and just like
They zone out.
they're at a food stand, and there's all
Mm.
sorts of bizarre stuff here, and the conversation has degraded to, well, what is it? And are we sure it's not alive?
Can I eat it?
So,
Oh, sorry, guys.
so more importantly, while those two are stuck staring at food, Melrath and the Fixer-Upper end up going in the same general direction. Um, the Fixer-Upper actually spots Droki. He's currently over milling around and generally looking suspicious around a alchemist shop. There's a whole bunch of potions. They have a mortar and pestle. The person that works the shop is currently grinding up something in that mortar and pestle and isn't fully paying attention. And it looks like Droki's waiting to make his move. The fixer-upper signals to Melrath, and Melrath also keeps an eye out. So at this point, you've spotted him. Are you going to try to let him make his move, or are you going to try to catch him now?
Let's kill him. Sorry.
Well, you can take him dead, so, that's a possibility.
I mean, I do have hold person, but I think we would rather go incognito for now.
Also, he has magic resistance, which gives him advantage on spell saves.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, maybe one of us should wait here, and then the other one gets everyone, and then
Try to cut off
Can-
the exits, or at least be able to follow him through multiple exits.
yeah.
So I'm
Can we
gonna
send the
rate.
bat?
Yes, that is also an option. So I'm going to share the sheet once more to get it back in everyone's focus. I'm going to clear my drawings, and then I'm going to draw a new drawing. So
Okay.
the current location. Do I have the right thing selected? I do. The current location for the Blade Bazaar is here. You guys are located in this area. Now, if you look on the map, there is near the water, there's a westward passage that leads out of the Blade Bazaar, and then there is a wider southeast exit, as it were, that leads out. So there's really only two ways out of here that aren't going into the water. And that actually ends up helping you out in terms of trying to spread out a bit. So everybody's assembled. We have Tristan working with his bat. Does your bat have a name?
It's probably just Bat. He's not a very creative kobold.
That works for me.
Bat.
Tristan has his bat on his shoulder at present. The creature's kind of clinging there, and it's ready to take off, and it has a lock, at least for the moment, on Droki. So the party is all generally spread out. Droki is still trying to make his move. He's inspecting some linens at the next stand over, and the person who owns that stand is starting to get a bit huffy, both about the amount of time that he's taking and the fact that he's kind of pawing at her linens. His hands don't look very clean. So that's the situation you find yourselves in. So is there any other plan at the moment?
I'm just going to throw this out there. I could try to detect thoughts on him, but
Okay.
I think we just want to follow him for the moment.
That's actually a good idea.
Well, let's take a quick look at Detect Thoughts. So, I want to make sure I know what the spell says. You initially learn surface thoughts, blah, 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 blah. Right, this is the spell I was thinking of. When it comes to this spell, nothing in this description says that the target knows you're detecting its thoughts unless you probe deeply.
Good.
So as far as I'm concerned, before you cast the spell, know that if you fail, he won't know.
Thank goodness for that.
But if I succeed, he will know.
If you succeed, he will not know. However, you initially learn the surface thoughts of a creature and what is most on its mind in that moment. As an action, you can either shift your attention to another creature's thoughts or attempt to probe deeper into the same creature's mind. If you probe deeper, the target must make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, you gain insight into its reasoning, if any, its emotional state, something that looms large in its mind. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Either way, the target knows you are probing into its mind unless you shift your attention to another creature's thoughts, and the creature can use an action on its turn to make an intelligence check to try to contest your ability to read its mind. So again, as actually, he only needs to make the save if you attempt to probe deeper. So, like, if you just cast this, you'll automatically get his surface thoughts.
Though this is a permanently insane little thing, so do be.
An excellent point. What is your decision?
Do it, do it, do it.
Oh, hold on. I know how to do this. I got this. You ready? Check for do it, X for don't.
You like those voting things, don't you?
I do. They move things along very nicely.
It's great peer pressure too when you see all those check marks.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Kyle, go for it.
All right, my spell slot is checked. Ooh, let's make out with him.
Sereth will be pleased.
Wait, do I have to cast it?
Yes.
Oh.
It's going to take up one of your spell slots. There you go. So, actually, did you already check off the spell slot?
Yes.
Okay. So, you cast a spell. We're going to ignore the spell save thing because that's not relevant here. So, instantly, you get the sense that you've connected to a mind that very much suffers from ADHD. This creature's thoughts are shifting all over the place. He doesn't seem to have focus at all, but at least in the surface level. But you can tell now that you have some of these surface thoughts that it's like a storm sort of surrounding like a razor sharp focus. And you're hearing all sorts of things. You hear something about stone giants, and then you hear something about fiber count, and then you hear something about, well, I want his fingers, and then there's something else about I should gut them, and then it goes all over the place. You're getting all these surface thoughts. However, the surface thoughts originally, as you first connect and start sensing them, they are there are lots of them, and they're going in all different directions. But you're noticing now that they're actually starting to decrease both in number and the rapidity in which he shifts direction from one thought to another. And so it seems like, based on your reading of this, he's getting ready to take action. What do you do?
Well, I feel like I could also try to reach out and chat with him through telepathy, but he would probably freak out and run if he heard someone talking to him.
At this point, the party is spread out equidistant from him in just about every direction.
True. What say you, party? Should we just try to
We're
track
not in
him?
talking range, but I'm gonna sort of look at you as an aside glance and nod.
So, Detect Thoughts has a range, which is that of 30 feet. As long as Droki is within 30 feet of you, you can find his thoughts around you. So there may be an opportunity for you to track him even if you can't see him.
Impressive.
As long as he can't put enough distance between you guys, that might actually work out for you. And you can concentrate on this for up to a minute.
And the bat can help us track him if he goes invisible, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure what we'll gain if we try to talk to him, but...
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
What was that? Nothing ventured, nothing gained?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the worst case scenario is we start chasing him through the market, which is kind of the expected scenario.
Right. Okay. Should I say hi?
Here.
Who are you working for?
There you go. Check for hello, X for no.
What's in the box?
Who does number 2?
Excellent callback.
Okay, I'll do it just for that one.
I was watching that last night.
All right,
So that
guys,
means we want to try to talk to him, right?
do it. Tell me what you're gonna say. I got to role
Okay.
play this.
let me. I didn't do any voice exercises. Droki, what are you searching for?
Um, so you guys remember the picture of Droki?
Oh yes.
His hat has these weird little ear things on it. They stand straight up like bunny ears, and his head starts twirling around, looking in all different directions, and you can see his legs tensing up to run.
Droki, I mean you no harm.
He pauses.
We just want to know what you're up to.
All is lost! He screams at the top of his lungs from nowhere. And he bolts. And when I say he bolts, he moves faster than any land-based bipedal creature you've ever seen. He is out of there. He is running to the south right now, and you guys are going to have to mad dash to fucking keep up with him. However, he does not seem to know where the voice has come from and doesn't know who he's escaping.
Am I in range to use mold earth to trip?
Yes, you are. However, one last thing that I wanted to mention because I should have. When he screams this, the alchemist falls off of his chair, and the woman at the linen shop immediately leaps up and grabs the broom in her stall and makes to beat him about the head with it. Had he not dashed off at the speed that he had, everyone is completely alarmed and befuddled by this. And then in the wake of his leaving and this disruption, you can hear multiple people cussing about Darrow mad as a hatter. So anyways, sorry, go ahead. Mold Earth, you say.
Yes. I'm going to target the area right in front of him and make it. Well, this is stone, right? This is a stone cobblestone street, right? So
Yes.
I could make it difficult terrain, but I can't like move a cube of it around.
Yes, that's correct. Also, people might be mildly pissed at you for breaking the street, but more importantly,
I can fix it.
one of the other things that I want you guys to be aware of, this is a straight up principle across all of D&D. There is no such thing as subtle casting. Period. If you are casting a spell, you're moving your hands in weird ass motions. They're big grand motions. You're saying stuff. People can tell you're casting. It's not possible unless you've somehow completely distracted someone that they just can't even perceive you to do things and cast in a subtle way. We all clear on that?
You mean big distractions like a Darrow screaming, "All is lost!" and
Yeah, that might qualify. More importantly, I don't need you to roll anything. What you're able to do, you were prepared for this. Even though he startled you, you were already, ready to cast. So you go ahead and you throw your hands out, and suddenly the earth underneath him slows him down just enough. So he's taking off, and I want you guys to get ready because what we're going to do is something I don't think we've done before in this campaign so far, and it's called group skill checks. I think Will is the only person who's familiar with that. Does anybody else know what a group skill check is?
Didn't we do this when piloting down?
Oh yeah, we did do that. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, so we've done these before. You guys know what's already expected. So what I want you to do is I'm going to once again be relying on perception and survival, and
Okay.
roll whichever one is better for you. If there is another skill that I haven't considered that maybe is applicable here, try to make a case for it. I'll be willing to hear you out. Okay? And then I want everybody to make a round of rolls, and let's see how the first round plays out.
Is it too late to detect his thoughts again?
Amazingly
Or
enough,
at least read them?
You still have detect thoughts going. However, he is outside of your range. He has somehow managed to move more than 30 feet in a single in the space of a initiative turn.
Okay.
Alex, question.
Yes.
Say the Tristan has a general idea of what this place looks like. Could he use investigation to come up with a plan of where would the Droki run to? Not where is he running to, but where would a good place for him to be?
Oh, you mean knowing the layout of the city?
Yes, sort of guessing where he's going to be instead of following him specifically.
Yes, that is absolutely something you can do. You will make it in place of perception or survival in this round.
How about persuasion, if I can convince him that I'm not an enemy?
He's moving too fast and too panicked to really be listening to you. If you corner him, that may come into play, but at this moment, it's not going to help you.
Okay.
I can't go forward until every person has made a roll of some sort. So go ahead and make your rolls, and then we'll see where everything lies. Okay. So, um, as I had mentioned, obviously everybody was very startled when he screamed, but for the most part, you guys were ready for this. What you weren't ready for is the extreme speed that Droki has. He's moved far, far faster than anyone would have expected. And fortunately, um, Tristan, as the party is running along, is able to say, well, the most obvious place, the one place that he's least likely to be identified, is a place where there's tons of Darrow. So he's got to be heading towards the chasm. And on the map, if you look, he is indeed headed
Mhm.
towards the chasm. This little trail is how far he's sort of gone at this particular moment. It's not meant to be to scale, it's just so that the party has a sense of where you personally are headed. Okay?
Alex, could you pull up the map one more time?
Of course. Oh, and also for reference, in the upper left-hand corner, there is a red dragon head. If anybody in the party wants to be able to call up the map at will, you can click, drag that map down into your bar, and then you can just click on it, and it will allow you to pull it up later if you want to review it. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay, so anyways, um, so Tristan mentions that. Fortunately for the party, Snake survival roll coupled with Tristan's directions are able to allow you guys to make it and keep track of him, albeit barely, as he heads in that particular direction. Um, and actually, because Tristan's roll was as good as it was and exceeded the difficulty class by a couple extra points, I'm also going to throw in there that the general direction that he's headed is the gate through which Rehud burst earlier. Meaning, if it's still open, and there's no reason to think it shouldn't be because it's been, I don't know, 10 hours, in all likelihood, he won't be slowed down trying to get through that gate. Okay, so this has been round one. We're going to get ready for round two. Same sort of deal. Um, survival or perception, unless you can make a case for another skill that you believe is applicable.
And so this is our only option for action?
Unless you can make a case for something else. I'm listening.
Okay.
So he's at the bottom of that little black line.
Yes. He
And
started at the top of it.
what are the pillars things on either side of him?
On either side of him at the southern point, to the left is a location called the Grolborn's Lair. It is the only establishment in Gracklstug that accepts non-Duragar guests. It is where the party has already spent some time recovering. To the right of that is a stalagmite. It happens to house a forge of some type. There are chimneys coming out of it. There's black smoke belching. You can see magma. But those are the two things between which he is likely to be passing.
And is this trying to follow him or trying to catch him?
Well, it's
I would
mostly
think.
going to be trying to follow him. Presumably, Droki has some sort of lair or place that he rests. If you can at least locate that, it should help you figure out what the hell is going on and maybe what it was that has been stolen. Does that help?
It does.
Okay.
I don't think I can use investigation again, so I'll have to go with the actual things I'm supposed to roll.
So to help out Kyle, I'm gonna roll for him. Let's see here. So everybody, go ahead and make your roll since I don't hear any other cases being made.
I don't think this is the time or place for intimidation.
I think he's fairly well intimidated already, but he also might not be paying attention to you.
Yeah, so I'll do that. Oh,
So his
Sorry, I'm back. What are we? We're rolling the next round.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised I did as well as I did.
I gotta stop rolling perception. Jesus Christ.
I thought I got another 18 from you.
That was.
That was survival. 12.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Well, anyways, so okay, at this point, um, Droki, as he's racing ahead, attempts to slide underneath a cart, and or sorry, not a cart, a merchant stand, and in so doing, the sort of cloth curtain around the bottom of it, like a skirt, would have made him would have caused you to lose his track if it wasn't for Melrath's sharp eyes seeing the bunny ears bouncing along up ahead. He rounds the corner, and Tazarath is able to find skid marks on the cobblestone from where he slid, again allowing you to pick up his trail. Ugh, stupid thing. I know that's a little hard to read against the map itself. It's not my fault. In case you're unclear, he is now through the gates. He's run through the hole that had been left behind by Rehud the stone giant, and is weaving in between buildings, bystanders, so on and so forth. As he passes through the gate, some of the Daragar guards have noticed not only that Droki is running, but that people are madly pursuing him. They are not you're not entirely certain what they're up to just yet, but they've taken notice of the chase. So we're into round 3 of this particular chase. Again, if you have any particular cases that you want to make, some things that you've thought of, questions you want to ask, let me know. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and make the rolls that we need to make.
You said that there were bystanders around, right?
Yep, lots of them.
Would acrobatics help get around those bystanders faster?
Yes, absolutely.
How about athletics?
Athletics will allow you to push yourself in exchange for a level of exhaustion, which probably won't be an issue. Like, technically, just so you're aware well in advance, if you get, I think it's like 6 or 8 levels of exhaustion, you just outright die. But you can push yourself to try to catch up to him. And so that's that.
Could I cast Thaumaturgy and kind of, I don't know, get fire in front of him to try to scare him and stop him for a bit?
Okay, that's actually not a bad idea. You don't need to roll a check for that then.
Okay.
Think for a minute about the effect that you're going to do while I examine these various rolls.
I haven't rolled yet. I would also like to. I'd also like to note that since we are chasing this guy, one of us should probably flash the badge that what's her face gave us.
Well, at this point, no one would be able to see it because you guys are literally running past them. So that's not a terrible idea. It may, in fact, become relevant in the near future, but for the moment, there's no one to flash it to. Okay. All right. Before I go ahead and work with the skill checks that I've got, Bob, tell me what the effect that you're trying to produce is, because remember, this is supposed to be like godly power.
It says you cause flames to flicker, brighten, or dim, or change color. It doesn't say you manifest them, right?
Right. This is existing flames.
Okay, so I'm not sure this would actually be good.
Well, there's other things that it can do, though.
Yeah, if we cause harmless tremors, then I figure he'll just keep running.
What's the one underneath that?
Create an instantaneous sound. Yeah. Could we try to shout at him?
You could also
Hey, you! Stop!
You could do the first
Stop
one,
right
yeah.
there, criminal scum.
I could do what?
You could do the first one. That qualifies.
Yeah. Okay, I mean. Sure.
Okay, what are you gonna say?
Droki, stop.
Okay.
Please. We mean you no harm.
We are your friends.
We only want to make out with you.
Oh my.
He is very
Drink this-
fetching.
Drink this filter of love.
I love those bunny ears.
Moving right along. So, Bob summons his thaumaturgical power, and his voice booms out, "Droki, stop! Please, we mean you no harm." Anybody that's nearby you instantly clutches at their ears, including some of your party members, because they were
Thought you were going to say
expecting
pearls.
that. And Droki, as you're watching him, like he's running straight ahead, and then all of a sudden he does like a kind of squirrel zigzag pattern for a second. Like that's somehow going to lose you, but it actually allows you to gain ground on him instead because he's dodging something he doesn't have to. The end result is that Tristan is able to use acrobatics to do a flip over several bystanders that are nearby and off a wall to gain ground on Droki. Followed up by the fixer-upper spotting and helping Tristan land as close as possible. And Melrath is also able to really dig down deep, pull out some of that constitution he has, and really power through at a pace that normally he wouldn't be able to sustain for very long. And so between Melrath, Tristan, and the fixer-upper, you guys are actually have closed some of the distance on him, and he's still faster than you somehow. He also doesn't seem to be like heaving or breathing or anything, especially heavily, which is something that the fixer-upper notes. So at this point, I'm going to draw again. There we go. And I drew the little zigzag for you. Okay. Thanks to the fixer-upper's excellent perception check, when Droki gets to the edge of the chasm, there's actually a wall that spans almost the entire length of this chasm, and it kind of waves back and forth as along with the edge of the chasm. However, because it wobbles back and forth and the walls actually kind of lean sometimes outwards, sometimes inwards, as the chasm is still kind of widening over time, there is a space in the lower section of the wall that has fallen through, and Droki does a slide and goes down over the edge of that and vanishes. However, you guys are able to spot exactly where it was that he was going, and now you have a clue. So the party, gets there as fast as they can. And once you get up to the edge of that chasm, down in this section, the walls of it are mostly loose gravel. There isn't an actual stairway that leads down to the floor of this, like there are in a couple other locations. However, all that loose gravel also causes him to kick up an extreme amount of dust. And there's more gravel down at the base, and there are two sort of large hills, and you can see him go around the corner and then dive down in between those two hills. And from this angle, it's obscured, but the party is close on top of his tail. You guys, excuse me, make it down into the floor. You go around the corner, and you have now found that there is actually a small opening that he has gone into, a cave that nobody else would have been able to see unless they had specifically gone up in between these two particular hills, and from this angle. So, I need to do one little thing, and then I'm going to be able to create a new section of the map. Okay. So the party heads down into this particular cave leading into the darkness. And so I'm going to do that, and then never mind, that doesn't make a difference. Sharing a new map. Everybody can put away the Greckelstug map for now. Also, it may be relevant for a number of different players. In the lower right-hand corner of this window, remember that there is a golden compass that you can use to slide it around. Each one of the squares on this map is 25 feet. And so, there's a lot of distance being covered from this particular top-level view. Okay?
And where are we right now?
I am actually about to grab you guys and place you on the map.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me see here. I want to move this to here, and then I'm just gonna. Whoa. What?
The giant half orc.
Oh, I
There you
just
go.
figured out how to shrink you. Boop. Okay, this may not really have space for everyone. Holy shit. Oh my. Well, now you're green dots. Congrats. I'm gonna have to zoom in on the map in order for this to work out in any way at all. Let me try making that a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. There we go. Yeah, yeah. There we go. I'm zoomed way in, and I know that this isn't ideal, but this is the map that we've been presented with, so we're gonna do our best, okay?
Mhm.
Here's spider bait. Shrink him down to the appropriate size. I think that's about right. Melrath. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Fargus. Fargus. No, he's still with you guys. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't die.
He was one that didn't die. One of the few.
Yeah, he died in the other party.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor Fargus.
Yeah, poor Fargus. People may or may not have sacrificed him. There's Sereth. Woo! Sereth is there. And then here's Snake.
Did they fireball anyone?
No, actually. They didn't have to. And then there's one more person I met. Oh! Grab you, drop you here, and then shrink Tazarath there, and then Tristan. There we go. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to do you a favor. Go to tokens. Where's the monster manual? Here it is. See if I can find it this way.
Sorry, my neighbors are being obnoxiously loud.
Oh, that's okay. This swarm of bats is going to represent your familiar. That way, if you plan to send it ahead to do exploring and stuff of that nature, he'll be on the map. I'm really sorry that it's so obnoxiously small. Do your best to sort of use the mouse wheel to zoom in. Pushing the mouse wheel away from you on the map should allow you to make the map bigger. So,
Is it grainy for everyone else too?
yeah.
Okay.
Grainy as all hell.
Yeah. Because this truly wasn't meant to be. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing I'm gonna do. Let me grab. Let's use Xanthars. Where's Out of the Abyss? Here it is. Campaign. Those are seeds. Found it. There we go. I'm actually going to make him a little bit bigger so that you're able to see him. There we go. So, I'm going to have to explain what that is. As you ascend down into the cave entrance, where's this thingy? Nope. The glow of Fairzess casts an eerie soft light across this cavern, swirling into spiral patterns and casting dancing shadows from the jagged pillars lining the walls. The air smells and tastes slightly metallic, and the sound around you is strangely muted. The dripping of water makes no echo as you stood in open air, or sorry, as if you stood in open air. So, give me just a second. I want to grab my book for Out of the Abyss, the physical book. Here it is. Because I have to now explain what Pharisus is. And then this is Seraph talking. He's the person able to tell you about it. An unusual magical energy, the drow called Pharisres, pervades much of the Underdark. The origin of this mysterious arcane power is unknown. Legend claims that it is an ancient elvish magic dating back to the time when dark elves were first exiled from the world above. The drow and other Underdark creatures use the properties of areas suffused with Pharisres to protect their settlements. Areas suffused with Pharisres can range in size from a few dozen feet across to several miles in diameter and feature the following effects. Areas suffused are always filled with dim light. Creatures in an area suffused has advantage on any saving throws against divination spells. If a divination spell doesn't allow a saving throw, the caster must succeed on a DC 15 con saving throw to cast the spell. Failing this save means the spell is wasted and has no effect. Any creature attempting to teleport into, within, or out of a Pharisres infused area must succeed on another DC 15 con saving throw, and on a fail, the creature takes 1d10 force damage and the teleportation attempt fails. Even if the attempt succeeds, the teleportation attempt can suffer a mishap as if the destination was known only by description, which is part of the spell description for teleportation. And lastly, I don't know why they made this relevant, as it won't matter for a very long time, but though Pharisus can't be dispelled, its effects are temporarily suppressed in an area of an anti-magic field. So I don't know why they mentioned that, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it as well in case it becomes relevant later, so I won't have forgotten to tell you. So, Droki is up ahead, and I'm actually going to reveal a little bit more and move him along. As you guys come in, he moves up into this passageway. His pace is slowed. He's acting like he hasn't been followed. He seems to think that maybe you guys don't know exactly where he is. And at the moment, due to the strangely muted quality of this cavern, he may not have heard you guys coming in either. So, what will you do?
Will, you said you had invisibility, right? Do we want to track him stealthfully now? Stealthily?
I mean, I have invisibility enough for 3 people, though it's concentration, so it's only 1 person, honestly.
There's also one other thing that's important with invisibility as it pertains to this, and I just want to grab the description real quick. That's odd. Never mind. It's a concentration spell up to an hour, so he can make one person invisible for up to an hour, and that's it.
And what exactly does concentration mean, without going into too much detail?
On the minimum, what it means is when you cast a spell with concentration, if you cast another spell with concentration, the first spell you cast with concentration ends.
Gotcha.
Concentration just prevents you from having too many magical effects up at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's getting away. Do you guys want to try to roll stealth? What you doing?
This is good. I think those of us who are better trackers should continue in some form, whether they're stealth or.
Are you proposing to split the party?
No.
So we could all roll stealth and try to creep?
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 of us, and a bunch of us are shaking armor around pretty well.
Yeah.
I can click a button and make the entire party roll.
Okay.
Wait 1 second. Who is the worst at stealth?
Oh, I'm not sure if I
Probably
can tell
me.
you from here. Let me check one other thing.
I have no dex bonus and chainmail, so.
That's pretty bad.
Oh, and Melrath has split mail, which has disadvantage on stealth. But unless you have a way that you can sort of work around that, I'm not sure.
I do. I can make the rolls a 17 and a 19.
Oh, that's
here you
true.
go.
But if someone else just rolls a 2 naturally, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Then why doesn't everybody individually roll their stealth checks so we can see
Okay.
what the numbers come up as? We're going to be doing this largely as a group effect. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Wow. What is it the fixer-upper good at?
He's good at rolling skills. That's pretty much it. Not damage, though.
He's good at fireballing the crap out of fish people.
That's true.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's everybody. So at this point, I'm going to pass on the NPCs for rolling, especially because Fargus himself is actually a thief and Ront is orky. So, anyways, it looks like the majority of the party made it 4/6. So I'm going to count that as a success. So you guys collectively are able to move as a group, and you're going to start following Droki. So I'm going to reveal the next little bit here, and then I'm going to read a little description. I'm going to put Droki where he's supposed to be. Actually, I'll put him a little bit. No, that's fine. I'll put him there. So everybody follows him along this corridor, and he stopped moving at that insane speed that he had earlier. And so since you're moving forward, I'm also going to reveal a little bit further forward, so you can see, other possibilities. But as you come to the point where Tristan is, you can see that Droki stands before a tall yet narrow crack in the wall. He stares at the crack for a moment and then leans down and rummages among the fungi, cackling with glee as he plucks a short mushroom and then suddenly eats it whole. As he finishes the last bite, you see him shrink down to a doll's size and then run into a crack in the wall.
What?
Oh, shit.
Some Alice in Wonderland shit right here.
Now, these mushrooms are all over the inside of this particular little cavern. It looks like the cavern, let me see, 25, 50, it's probably like 60 feet across from the widest points, I'm estimating. So that's how big of a space we're dealing with. But this crack is easy for someone doll sized to fit through, but the rest of you, no way. Now, in the fungal area here, there are 2 different types of mushrooms. And some of them have a very tall cap that doesn't stretch out very wide, and some of them have big wide caps that stretch out a big, into a big diameter at the top. Those of us from Pennsylvania may be familiar with some of these mushrooms.
Eat them both.
What did the Droki eat?
I'm gonna roll something.
Don't we still have that stool guy too? Could he be any help here?
He's a mycologist, yeah.
You're going to ask Stool which fungus that looks like him can be eaten.
I think
Nobody
that's
ever said I had good ideas, all right?
I just wanted to put it out there and take an extra opportunity to. Anyways, so
traumatizing our party members.
It's not the first.
here's what I'm gonna say. Just roll a wisdom check. Just straight up wisdom check off your stat.
Everybody?
Anybody that wants to. Snake, that was survival.
Sorry.
God, snakes the worst.
Excuse me. Okay. Everybody. So Droki has made it through the wall. So at this point, you guys are able to come into the passage, and Tazarath, Bob, and the Fixer Upper are kind of mulling through the fungi available. Everybody's fairly certain that it's the tall pointy caps. However, it really could be either one at this point. That does not help.
Nice try.
It doesn't, but it was worth a shot.
It was worth a
I
shot.
have an idea.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask Bat to eat one of them.
Okay. Which one
Can
do
we
you want him to eat?
The one that we're pretty sure about.
Okay. So Bat, if I'm not mistaken, is about the size of your outstretched hand, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, with a
You guys ready to fight a giant bat?
I can dismiss his ass in a heartbeat.
There you go.
Knowing you bat.
Bat Masterson.
So, Tristan reaches down, he picks up the cap, and he very cautiously feeds it to the bat. Now, Bat eyeballs Tristan for a moment, and then cautiously reaches his mouth out and takes a nibble at it, kind of chews on it, and then all of a sudden he shrinks down to barely be the span across of your palm.
And then we stomp on him.
Well, now we know which mushroom works, and now someone else has to figure out what the other mushroom does.
You guys don't have a hell of a lot of time. Do you really want to be messing around with mushrooms right now?
Nope, I was just a joke, in case it was poisonous.
When
I mean-
don't we want to be messing around with mushrooms? Come on, man.
This brings me back to college, boys. Those were the days. I could see music. I could hear colors.
Now you sound like a bard.
Well, Tristan is going to take a mushroom and eat it, and then follow Droki.
Oh, I need a more specific mushroom picking. The one that the bat ate, or the one the bat didn't eat.
The one the bat ate, of course.
Okay, I gotta ask. Tristan decides, to throw caution to the wind, grabs the mushroom, moderately sure that this is the one, pops it into his mouth, and as he bites down on it, suddenly shrinks down to doll size. He cheers in a tiny, high-pitched voice.
We'll let him chase Droki. We'll just wait here.
Oh, okay. Tristan, go!
I'm assuming we all want to chase after him.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Everybody quickly grabs one of the tall mushrooms. You pass them to other party members as best you're able. And one by one, you all take a bite. The mushroom itself is surprisingly bland in flavor. It has a quality to it much like quinoa in terms of like texture. And yeah, so everybody managed to stack on those things. Now, interestingly enough, you are only slightly taller, with the exception of, I believe, Tristan and Melrath, than the mushroom that you have consumed. The crack stretches out before you, and you are able to move through it with the ease that you would travel down any other tunnel. Now, the only other thing that I'll mention is that the tunnel that you came from seems massive in comparison. So I'm going to. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. I got to reveal some stuff here. Give me a moment. Remove that. Isn't there a thingy I have to read? Not that. Oh, because this is the player map. I need this map. Teeny bit too far. Yes, I have it now. Where was that little snippet that I'm looking for? I think I made it up. Okay. So, I want the mask. Enter mask mode, and then I think it's control. No, that's not it. Shift. Go like that. There. Okay. And then I'm actually going to go just a little bit more like that. There. As you follow Droki through the passageway, the crack in the wall, the crack winds and waves its way through, and thanks to the Phasers Zest, you're able to get a sense of dim light. And I'm actually going to move him further ahead, but you're able to get a sense of dim light. And there's a point at which there is a running stream that apparently goes through this particular cavern, and it's running towards the southeast approximately on this map, and there is a stretch, a splinter of stone that reaches over the top of this particular um, stream that's flowing through, and at your height, it's actually a moderately sized piece of rock, so there's no real difficulty. It's a little bit slippery, but nothing that you're going to have to roll for. You're able to swiftly make it across, and then through yet another crack in the wall. It winds and waves, and then it makes its way to the location that I currently have Droki drawn. So I'm going to use Tristan because he's out front. You guys are able to make it to about here. You see him come out that passageway, and then I got to start revealing more stuff. So give me a moment.
Reveal map. Cheese steak coinage.
What?
Hey, as long as we're doing reveal map stuff, I may as well make references to Age of Empire.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna grab Droki, move him to about here. So as you guys pass through, actually, you know what? I'm gonna use Fargus because I always use Fargus. Fargus is like the marker for the party as a whole, essentially. Once you guys pop out to the other side, you find the same set of fungus that was actually at the opening to the crack in the wall on the other side that you came through initially. So some of these tall caps are here, some of the very wide, fat caps are here, and you see that Droki has slipped up and ahead, and he's made it over to a particular passageway. And I'm going to reveal just a little bit more now that you're out here, just so that you get a sense of like directions. Because eventually, if you choose to scroll out and zoom all the way out, you'll sort of be able to see it as a whole. And so, whoa. Droki spins around in a circle for a minute. There we go. So, at this point, so before I continue, are you guys going to try to subdue him at any point? Or are you just mostly trying to trail him for the time being? Actually, this is another wonderful use of vote.
How did I know you were going to do that?
Every opportunity. So, vote check mark if if the party would like to just pursue him and see what happens. X if you're going to attempt to grab him while you still can. We're actually almost evenly split. Does anyone want to make a case for one thing or another before I proceed?
If we've got a chance to grab him, we ought to make the attempt at least. Although we will have to mushroom ourselves back up to full size, I think, to do so.
I mean, yeah, my vote was kind of pursue him now and then see what happens later and maybe grab him, so. Oh no.
Is anybody particularly convinced to change their vote? Yes, no? Okay. It looks like the party has been slightly convinced in favor of trying to grab him now. How exactly are you going to accomplish this? Are you going to try to stay small and on his level, as it were? Or will you attempt to get a bigger mushroom, hoping to close ground on him faster?
Does the cavern get any like he stayed small, but are we still in the small cavern?
No, you've opened up into the size of a tunnel that you first came into. And actually, I'm so sorry, I should have mentioned this. You see the water, the pool that's kind of like to the
Mhm.
west. There's a pool nearby. It looks like some of the water that you had passed over originally kind of pools here. And there's a hole in the wall where it seems to sort of drain out of kind of slowly. Um, there's a actually. I think there's a description for this. Hold on a second. Yeah, the tunnel slopes down to the edge of a large pool that fills the cavern ahead. The opposite shore is nearly 100 feet away, but nothing can be seen beneath the surface of the black water. There's also a very thin ledge that goes around both sides of the pool itself, over it, and reaches the opposite shore. But anyways, that's less relevant because Droki isn't going in that direction. So this cavern tunnel that you're in is about almost 30 feet across, from one wall to another. The crack that you went through is probably closer to like 4 feet across. I'm guessing, because it's not a perfect comparison.
Did Droki grow back to size? Do we know?
You do know, and he has not. He has stayed small.
This is a very important question that we need to probably answer. How do we go back to size?
He's worried about the logistics.
And that might not be a terrible thing to be worried about.
I mean, it'd be great if it got bigger and catch him down, but I mean, I'd rather not stay the size of a very small doll for the rest of my life. I was already small before.
And you're even smaller now.
I mean, wait, Alex, you said there was another patch of mushrooms at that little entrance.
Yeah, see where Fargus is on the map?
Yeah, so we can nibble a bite of one of the mushrooms that we didn't have previously.
You could try that, yes. Who will volunteer to eat the mushroom that has unknown properties?
The
I
bat.
will.
The bat.
The bat is the logical choice.
Hey, if someone else wants to pay 100 GP if he croaks.
Those things cost 100? Jeez.
Yeah, but
But you
think
could
of all the
summon them.
utility that you get out of having a tiny, tiny bat.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Anyways, so I think I heard Tristan volunteer. Did I hear Tristan volunteer?
Tristan doesn't
No.
like being
Hang on
tiny,
a
so
sec.
and his wisdom score is meh, so he'll be like, screw it, why not?
Okay. Tristan snatches up, or actually, I'm sorry, climbs up the big wide mushroom, and once he gets up to the top, he slams his head forward and starts nibbling into the cap, and then suddenly and profoundly grows in size, and then crushes that section of the mushroom patch a little bit.
Thought you were going to say crushes the rest of the party.
That's it for us, guys. Let's do another adventure.
Party wipe!
Oops.
Kyle, would I be that mean?
I don't know yet. That's
That's what terrifies me.
yeah.
I wanted to make a new character anyway. Let's do it.
He's just gonna grab a mushroom and crumble it up so everyone else has easier access.
Okay, so
Wait.
everybody's going to return to full size?
Are we over by Fargus now?
Yeah, I'm using Fargus
Okay.
to map where the party is as a group rather than moving everyone individually.
Oh, okay. We will move ourselves.
It might.
Hmm?
I'm not sure all of us should grow back to size, but I don't know.
Well,
Why?
I mean, someone can we can take mushrooms with us, and people can grow back afterwards, and they can take a ride with whoever isn't.
From
Yeah,
Tristan's experience, as a small creature, taking a chunk out of this, it really only took a bite of this big, wide mushroom in order for you to grow to size. So what you can do is everybody in the party has some sort of cutting implement. You can always take shavings off of these things and carry them with you. Now, one of the other things that I didn't mention, probably should have, when you shrunk, everything you had shrunk with you. So it's not like you left your equipment behind or anything crazy like that. I'm not that mean. But more importantly, what this also means is that, if you're a small size and you shave off a little bit of the tall cap and stick it in your pack, it'll be of an appropriate size when you're large again that you could take it.
So yeah, I'll keep Snake small for now anyway.
Okay. Who else is going to remain small so I know what's what?
I mean, I'll grow just to chase him.
Okay.
Tazarath will also grow.
All right. So we have Tazarath, Tristan, and Bob at standard height.
The same with Fixer Upper, I guess. Just be Snake.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so for whatever reason, Snake decides that he's not ready to grow up again, and everyone else, in the meantime, resumes full height. Now it takes you a little bit to do that. So Droki moves down that passageway that you saw him heading towards. Oh yeah. So Tiny Snake is carried with the party.
Tiny snake. Oh, this is the best one yet.
Small snake.
Wait, where did Droki go?
Oh, guys, hang tight for just 1 second. If you could briefly pay attention to the group chat. I just had to do it.
Adorable.
Also, Alex, I would like to point out it's 8:30.
Yes, I was actually just about to address that. So at this point, we're going to have to call it. Right. So anyways, Droki heads down the passageway. I have the map saved. I have... Let me actually just erase some stuff real quick.
Everyone remember your current size as well.
Oh, don't even worry about it. What I'm going to do is for next time, party size. Snake.
Tiny.
Small. There we go. And I made this available for everyone to see. Everyone else.
Tiny snake, tiny snake.
Okay. Everyone else equals big. So that way, nobody has any questions. And I've covered all that stuff. The pursuit of Droki is going well so far, and the map will save everything, and I just need to grab one thing for myself for next time, right here. Oops. This one. I'm gonna place this... Christ, I don't know where. I don't want to override... Actually, I do want to override dead NPCs. That's fine. There we go. Okay. Thank you guys for playing.